All right, so for 10.3, arc length formula. Now, the arc length formula that is similar to our area of a sector formula. If you remember, area of sector is the angle measure over 360 times the area, pi r squared. But that's area of a sector. Arc length is the same concept. Okay, it's x over 360 times the circumference, which is 2 pi r. Now, what I like to do with this is to simplify this, because the 2 and the 360 will reduce. So that gives you x over 180 times pi. Let me write pi a little better. Times r. So we just simplified it down to make it a little bit easier. Okay. So that is our formula that we're going to deal with for pretty much everything today. Straightforward, very simple. We will have a lot of what we did yesterday, finding the arc length and finding the central angle, using all that information to find the angle measure, because we have to know what x is. So we're going to solve for that quite a bit. There's occasion where they're going to give us diameter instead of radius, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. All right, so for number 1, using that formula, all right, we're given that x is that central angle, so x is 107.
It's for nighttime.
Okay. So again, x is 107. The radius is 6. So plugging everything in, we get 107 over 180 times pi times 6. All right. So we take our calculator, 107 divided by 180 times pi times 6. And you get 11.21. Rounding to the hundredths place, 11.21, and it's in meters, so meters. All right. So take a minute and try number 2. It's pretty much done the same exact way. So I'll give you a minute. All right. So, same concept. Our x is 38. Our radius is 15. So 38 over 180 times pi times the radius 15. And if you plug that in your calculator, you will get, let's see here, 38 divided by 180 times pi times 15. So rounding that to hundredths place, 9.95. 9.95.
Not round that up anymore afterwards.
Nope, because hundredths place, that's that. Now, if you're rounding to the tenths, you could. If you're rounding to the tenths, that would give you 10. The hundredths place is that. Yes? Yeah. All right, number 3. Now, number 3 is a little bit different because you're finding the arc length, but they didn't give you the central angle. They gave you the other central angle. So you do need to find the correct central angle here. Now again, since a full circle is 360, x here is going to be 360 minus the given value 142, which gives me 218. So 218 over 360 times pi times the given radius of 4. And again, I think we should know how to put that in the calculator. So that is going to be 15.22 centimeters. So,
Centimeters or centimeters squared?
since it's circumference, it's in just centimeters. Yeah. You'd have to see the word area for centimeters squared and volume for cubed. So whether it's lateral area, surface area, or just area, that's units squared. Perimeter and circumference is just units. Volume is units cubed. All right, so try number 4. Basically the same as number 3. All right. So here again we have the wrong angle. We're going to take x is 360 minus 288, which gives you, well, first 72. So we have 72 over 180 times pi times 9.5, and that should give you 11.94 feet.
Last one you did 360.
Hmm?
The last question you did 360.
Did I? Did I write 360?
Yeah.
My bad. That should be 180. My apologies. 180. Yeah, the formula is over 180. That's my mistake. It should always be over 180. Again, there is another way to do the formula if you left it in the original form, which is what we had up here, x over 360 times 2 pi r. But again, there's no point in doing that since you can reduce and make this a simpler formula. So again, I may have mixed that up a little bit. Any questions 1 through 4? All right, so that's pretty much straightforward. Just find the arc length. So for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, we are going to be using some information we went over yesterday in finding the central angle or finding the arc length or arc measure in degrees so we can find x. So again, here we're given r, but we don't know what x is. Okay, so r is 15. Now it says find the length of CD, so we want to find, yes? Okay. So, we're trying to find the length of CD, but we're not given the measure there. But since CB is, or DB is a diameter, we're going to do that 180 minus the 68 to give the angle measure, which is 112. Okay. So this angle is 112, and now we have enough to find the arc length of CD. Now, I do want to kind of point this out because I haven't brought this up yet. the difference between the measure of CD and arc length of CD, because that's difference. The measure of CD is 112 degrees, but arc length of CD should be written like that, and that's how you're going to see that. Okay. So just make sure, again, if you see measure CD, they're looking for the actual degree measure. Arc length, you should see find arc length. All right. So X is 112, so 112 over 180, not 360, times pi times the given radius of 15. If you plug that in, you should get 29.32. And that's in centimeters, so cm. All right. So try number 6. Try number 6. It's very similar. Not quite the same, but similar. Give you a few minutes for that. All right. So here we're given the NR. So again, you didn't even make sure that's the radius and not diameter. So since they give us the center, that is the radius. NR is 8. So the radius is 8. We are given that MRQ, or arc length, or measure of arc MQ, is 162. Since this is a diameter here, That means that arc MN, or arc QP, depending on what they want you to find, is 180 minus 162. All right. So we get that that is 18 degrees. So this is 18 degrees, and since this is vertical, this is also 18 degrees. So if we want to know the arc length of NMP, that's this whole section right here, all right, well, that's the sum of all these angles. So again, you add, 18 plus 18, which is 36, plus 162, and it gives you 198 degrees. So 198 over 180 times pi times the radius 8. And that gets you 27.65, and that's feet. So feet. All right, so for number 7, VS. Now this in case they give us VS, so that's the diameter, which means the radius is half that. Radius is 12 over 2, which is 6. Find the length of UT. So we want this arc length here. All right. So again, we're going to use a lot of those vertical angles here are congruent. So since these two lines intersect, that means that these two angles are congruent. Now, since this is already 90, what's left for this angle for UWT? So the measure of angle UWT, which is our angle we want, is 127 minus 90, 37 degrees. So this is 37 degrees. So 37 over 180 times pi times 6. Any questions on how I got the 37 or why that works? Again, since vertical angles are congruent, so these two sets of angles should be equal to each other. If that's already 90, you would just take away 90 to get the remaining. So plug it in, you get 3.87, and it's in meters, so meters. So try number 8. Alright, again, JH is the diameter, which means the radius is 21 over 2, or 10.5. We are given vertical angles are congruent. So if this is 85, that means KLG, the measure of angle KLG, is 85 minus 59, which gives you 26. Now here's the fun part. Find the length of KGJ. That is everything except for KG. Yeah. Good. So X is equal to 360 minus the 26 degrees we just found. Because they wanted everything around except for KG. Okay. So that gives me 334 degrees for angle X. So 334 over 180 times pi times the radius 10.5. Right. And that should get you 61.21, and it's in inches, so inches. All right, number 9. FG, that is the radius. So we're good. The radius is 27. Find the length of FED. So they want FED. Now that one's actually pretty simple enough. We didn't even need to know that this is 90 degrees because FED is everything except for these two angles. We have these two angles. Those two angles are 80 and 47. So 80 plus 47 gives me 127. So X is equal to 360 minus that 127. So 233. So 233 over 180 times pi times 27. And that gets you 109.8 yards. So try number 10. Give you a few minutes. All right. So number 10, we are given WS, which is the radius. So the radius is 4.5. Find the length of TS. All right. Now again, this is similar to the one we just did. These are vertical angles. So if this is 31 degrees, that means this angle is 31 degrees. So TWS, the measure of angle TWS, which is what we need, is 128 minus the 31 degrees. So 97. So 97 over 180 times pi times 4.5. That should get you 7.62. And it's in millimeters, so millimeters. Now keep in mind, the angle TWS is the same thing as the measure of arc TS. They're all the same. So we could have found this arc length here. If this is 128, that means this is 31. Again, this would be 97 degrees as well. So either the angle measure or the arc length, they are the same. It doesn't matter which one you find because they're equivalent. All right. So number 11. This is pretty much straightforward. A 16-inch pendulum swings through the angle of 40 degrees. How far does the tip of the pendulum travel? So what is the arc length? Well, they give us the radius is 6 and x is, 16. X is 40. And we just plug it in the formula. So that would be 40 over 180 times pi times 16. And that is 11.17, and it's in inches, so inches. All right, so the last one. Car entered a roundabout from Mason Avenue, traveled 128 feet, so that is the arc length. The arc length is 280 feet. Then they turn on Perry Street. If the roundabout has a diameter or radius of 75 feet, find the angle of rotation. So they want to use the formula x over 180 times pi times r equals the arc length to solve for x, because that's the value we don't have. So x over 180 times pi times 75 is equal to 280. So the first thing you want to do is get rid of the pi and the 75. So divide both sides by pi and 75, or 75 pi. Now when you put this in a calculator, 280 divided by 75 pi, this would be putting it in incorrectly. Because if you do that, you're going to get 11 point something, all right, which is wrong. When you put it in, you want to do 280 divided by parentheses 75 pi. That way, both 75 and pi are in the denominator. Here, what you're doing is dividing by 75 and then multiplying by pi. You're not dividing by both 75 and pi. So this is what you should get, which is 1.188. I'm just going to round to 1.188. So x over 180 equals 1.188, and then multiply both sides by 180 to get x by itself. So really just take your answer here and times it by 180. 213.9, so that's going to round to 214 degrees. And that is it.